Welcome to Campaigns in CloudWorks IT and Trivaeo. Before I get into the meat here of campaigns, it's important that your administrator has been on the admin platform and has integrated to MailChimp. If you plan on outbound campaigning via email, you get much better response rates and much better efficiency in the delivery of your campaigns via email using MailChimp. It's by far the global premier outbound email delivery platform. And because of its efficiency and effectiveness, we strongly recommend this integration is done before you start campaigning via email. If I click on MailChimp here, you can see that I have an active MailChimp integration for my electrical company, Trellick Electrical Services. This is the main contact list in MailChimp that the system is managing for me. The CRM contact group that I am synchronizing to this list in MailChimp currently is anyone in the newsletter group, and emails going out via that campaign are at no reply. So if I have a quick look in CRM and look at my contacts and then change my group filtering from all to just those in the newsletter, I think I've got 2 or 3. Oh, there you go, I've got 2. So I got 2 targets that satisfy this. The beauty of the integration between CloudWorks IT campaigning in email and MailChimp is that if either of these subscribers subsequently replies to the MailChimp campaign saying, please unsubscribe me from this list, I don't want the information anymore, then the email opt-out is automatically changed through the integration to a yes. So you don't run the risk of accidentally remarketing or campaigning to people that have said their preference is not to be contacted by you. So you can honor that customer commitment without even thinking about it. It's handled automatically by the clients themselves. So I've got a group of contacts here that I want to target a newsletter to. I've got, let's have a look. How many have I got in total? If I select all, several, over 343, 1,002 contacts in the system. I've only got 2 that are signed up for newsletter, but that's okay for this example. So go back to my CRM dashboard. We're now going to look at campaigning. So campaigning is an instrument that a business uses to spend a bit of money on a particular activity designed to get your message in front of an audience. You could campaign to sell more, you could campaign to create awareness or brand-based activities, and you can do so in a wide range of media. The example I'm going to show you is email because it's by far the most popular. But in setting up a new campaign on our system, it's empty because we haven't done any campaigns yet. Let's add a new one. I'm going to call this one Newsletter Update. So the campaign title is arbitrary, but yeah, give it a name so that you know what the campaign was by name rather than having to look at them a few months later. What campaign type was that? So the status is whether it's currently running, in planning. So I'll say this one is active because I'm going to do it immediately. The type, so this is the media type of the campaign. A campaign doesn't have to be a physical thing that you're delivering, like a letter or an email. It could be a show that you're attending. It could be direct mail that you're sending. It could be a webinar that you're attempting to get sign-ups for. Or indeed any other type of activity where you've got a known cost to deliver the project, let's call it a project, versus an expected return on that investment. So that's campaigning. So this is going to be email for me. The notification type is the method by which people will be notified that they're a recipient in this campaign. We've got 2 systems currently supported that allow the CloudWorks IT platform to execute the campaign for you. One is in email, the other is in SMS, the short message service. If you don't have the SMS application entitlement, you won't see it in the drop-down list. You can ignore the notification type and just leave it on email. For if you select any other type of campaign instrument, obviously nothing will be physically sent if it isn't of type email in any case. So I'm going to give this a valid description, newsletter update to our subscribers. Starting today, the budgeted cost, let's say I'm spending £100 with a graphic artist to get some really nice content and graphics created for our newsletter update. So I know the cost will be 100. What money do we expect to receive from this campaign? Let's assume then, just for the example, that I was hitting all 1,002 of our clients, and I expect 2% of them to sign up to whatever I'm offering. So that would be 20. And let's say the product costs £10. So I'd expect the revenue to be 200. 20 users signing up for something that costs £10 each. The end date of this campaign, it takes a while after you've sent the email for them to be read and then replied to. So I'll say Saturday the 1st is the cutoff date. The actual cost, if you don't have the other applications that are able to attribute costs to campaigning, things like projects and what have you, then this is a manual entry. When the artist bills me, I'll put the 100 in here. Until then, the actual cost to date is 0. And the expected response, I said 2% of the 1,002 people in the target system, so that would be 20. So we expect 20 responses or replies to this campaign. And obviously, the ability to track campaign responses through leads and then into opportunities and maybe doing quotes for them, that associates that count with this expected result. So you can see where this goes from a dashboard perspective. At a glance, the business will be able to tell whether a campaign is delivering effectively against its perceived or planned impact. So that's all we need really to trigger the campaign. It's got a title, a status, a type, a delivery mechanism, the notification type for email or SMS, a description so that others later on will know what this campaign was for, and a date over which it will run. So let's move on to the next stage. This is campaign driven. So now, out of our contacts or companies, it's either or. You can't select functions out of both of these because both statements can't be true at the same time. So I'm going to select all contacts in the system that were in the group I created called newsletter. So just having a quick look at that again, if we go back to contacts and I pick Jacqueline, bless her, she's been our example throughout. Jacqueline Tidwell is in the group. So if I edit Jacqueline and we look at the groups that she's in, any contact rather, and any company can be a member of multiple groups. So this ability to put people in multiple containers allows you to segment and target them for campaigning extremely easily. You may have suppliers that get your newsletter, you may have customers that get the same newsletter, but certain types of others. Like if I had a group called gold suppliers, I wouldn't send the standard newsletter to gold suppliers. So think carefully about the groups you're going to use across your CRM system, because they become invaluable in targeting communications and tracking over the long term. And they do some other clever stuff as well. For example, if Jacqueline receives an email from us and she then hits the unsubscribe in the MailChimp footer from that email, then this box will become ticked, meaning even though she's in the group customer of type customer in the group newsletter, she won't receive an email from the campaign. So that was just a quick rerun there over context. As I go back to our campaigns, so you saw I jumped out of that wizard before it was complete. I haven't told it anything. So if I go back to edit it, I'm back to where I was. So I can still select the group that I want. The group that I want to target are contacts in the group newsletter. Now you'll remember from my manual search earlier, we had 2 matching contacts, and there you go, we've got 2 matching contacts. So I can select all of them. That'll immediately move them to the target group. And for the purposes of demonstration, obviously I'm not going to hit all 1002 dummy examples that I created earlier on that import process out of my contacts list, because I will receive 998 errors from the platform that the email addresses were invalid. Of course they are, it was dummy data. So I'm using actual, and they both point to my email address. So bear with me for that, but you'll understand why I've had to do that for this video. So I want Jacqueline Noller, I want Jacqueline Tidwell, or I could just have selected all and they would immediately have moved into the selected contacts. So these are now valid contacts in or as targets for this campaign. I could have used the company vertical, or I could have said, you know, give me all companies that are in the UK that have got more than 5 employees and so on. So you can be quite granular with these, but remember it's either or, it's not and or for your search criteria. Remember, all contacts are members of your companies in any case. So if you use that notion in association with this concept of groups that you put people and companies into, then you should have no problem reaching exactly the right targets in each case. So now I've defined the campaign type, its boundary conditions from a revenue and a budgeting perspective, and the targets that are going to receive this campaign. If this was a manually executed campaign, there wouldn't be a physical execution, you know, at a platform level, like you hit go and it happens. No, of course, you have to go to the trade show, collect leads. When you come back, the leads will be entered and then assigned to the campaign that you set this up for, and they will be counted against that campaign's overall target. So, you know, some of the campaign types are automated and others require manual intervention, but as long as you're using the nomenclature here in the CRM system correctly, you'll get valid reports and valid tracking of how your marketing and forecasting and planning, execution and budgeting is working for you. So campaigns ready for the next stage, I'll hit next. So now I'm taken really to what I would call a what you see is what you get editor. Whilst all valid targets of the campaign are shown, or at least a summary of the first 20 or so are shown to you, these are not on a to message in email, they are blind. So Jacqueline will receive an email that is independent from Jacqueline, and each recipient receives an individual email. It's not one email that goes to 500 BCC'd contacts. You would get 500 mails that go to 500 contacts. And I'll show you clever things around attachments in a moment, because if you got a 10 megabyte attachment, which I don't recommend, but if you did, you wouldn't want to store the same attachment 500 times, would you? So you add the attachment to the campaign later. I'll show you that in a moment. So let's give our email a subject, so newsletter update, and then dear, and we want to personalize this. It's not going to be dear subscriber. We know who these people are. We know a lot about them if you've been watching the other videos so far. So dear, and let's personalize using the placeholder or the database field name placeholders, the last option here in the editor. So dear, salutation would be Mr., Mrs., Miss, then space, and select last name. So dear Mrs. Tidwell. Perfect, that's what I wanted. Or dear Ms. Noller, if she's a Ms, I'm not sure. And you carry on creating the structure and the content of your campaign here using the what you see is what you get editor. So your content goes here. So let's save and exit this. So we still haven't executed anything. We've got a defined campaign with defined recipients, and now we've defined the content that they're going to receive. Well, I'll just show you some cooler features here. Adding a picture as easy as add the picture from your computer, browse. Let's have, hey, yeah, let's use the thermocouple. That will blow them away, won't it? So I've added the picture. Let's say I'm selling a product or, you know, whatever. You get the idea. You can lay this out quite nicely with pictures, with links, with tables. You can change the font. So you get all of the traditional nice tooling that you would get with any advanced email campaigning engine. And we get the benefit in this case of delivery via MailChimp. So it's a win all round. So let's save and exit this. We still haven't executed the campaign. We've just prepared it. So if I go back to newsletter update, now you can see much more information about it. None have been sent, none have been delivered, none have been opened, none were unsubscribed to. It's going to 2 contacts, and guess what? I can jump straight into the contact back in the contact system as easily as that. And guess what? Jacqueline has been a member of one campaign out of the CRM system, which is the newsletter update. So you can slice and dice and jump your way through all sorts of features like this in our CRM platform. And you may be surprised at how easy it is to move, to check, to validate. You're not having to back out of everything you were doing and then go back in again and climb your way back down to where you were. It's a simple link away usually. So 2 contacts, I can check them. I've got no leads generated by this campaign yet, no opportunities, and the history, nothing's happened with it yet. Oh, I can preview the email. Now, the email rather than the emu. It's not an emu, that's a thermocouple. I can test this email before I send it to our target subscribers. I want to check it's laid out right, or it arrives correctly, and that the top and tail and everything's okay. I could do a test. So I'll do a test to dave@thetidwells.org and send. Let's go check. Oh, that's Twitter. It might be a couple of seconds here, so I might not catch this on real-time video. But let's assume that that's on its way and it will be arrived. There we go, something's arrived. Oh, I got an email from CloudWorks IT. That was real time. I haven't edited this video. So obviously, as an invalid target of this, I'm seeing the field names instead of my own name, but I'm not a target in it, so it didn't do the mapping. That's cool. And I've got the option to unsubscribe. Excellent. So dear salutation, last name, your content goes here, the picture, that's exactly what we laid out, so I'm happy with the email. Now, in my MailChimp integration, when I signed up for my MailChimp account as Trelec Electrical Services, I synced my integration to a list called Trelec Electrical Services. And here it is. You can see there's 3 subscribers. There's Jacqueline Noller, Jacqueline Tidwell, and me, the admin, Acme customer admin, as the admin of this MailChimp account. This is the really cool thing too, that as your employees are working day to day and routinely on contacts and adding them to the right groups, if they add any contact, so if I added Abigail Bateson, for example, to the newsletter group by editing her, and then going to the contact group and selecting newsletter, and then hit OK. If I was to go, now I have to select a type of customer. If I went back to this and I sat here for a couple of minutes, you'd notice that my list will grow to 4 people, not 3. Because in the background, CloudWorks IT will be synchronizing members of that list, newsletter, to this list, which is the Trelec Electrical Services list. And just have a quick look at that again for you again. Here, MailChimp, that my integration with MailChimp is active. Trelec Electrical Services is syncing anyone in the CRM contact group of newsletter and any emails that go out from this address. So let me just have a quick look back again here. Let's see if this synced yet. It syncs every few minutes. No, not yet, but it will do. These automatically synchronize in the background. Oh, another Twitter message and email. So let's go ahead back to our campaign. So CRM campaigns. We're about as ready as we're ever going to be to do this campaign. So let's go to the newsletter update. Just give it one final check. Oh, attachments. I knew I had something that I wanted to add. I want to add an attachment that will be delivered with this campaign. And I'm going to send everybody a picture of the thermocouple. Now, obviously, it wouldn't be something as silly as this in real life. It's going to be for example, a PDF brochure or a booklet or whatever other attachments you want to add. Don't make them too fat if you're going out with email. So attachment, oh, I didn't add it. I closed it instead of saving it. So let's go ahead and add our thermocouple, open, start the upload. It's now uploaded and it's available to the campaign. And it's also been stored in the document system, by the way, so this is available to all of the users across the system in the event that they have the relevant permissions. So people reviewing the campaign later won't be blind to the document that we sent with the email. I don't know if you've ever dealt with that problem before, that you only get a partial view of what the customer got. So I think we're ready. So back to the campaign info, let's hit the execute button. Do we want to execute? And we'll say yes. And in real time, you can watch your dashboard developing, and it will show you how many were delivered, how many have been opened, how many unsubscribes you received from it, and the number that were sent. So if I go back to another area, for example, back to campaigns, newsletter update, it hasn't been sent yet. I'm just checking my list over here while I'm waiting. Yes, I told you that Abigail Bateson would be added automatically in the background, and she has. And I've received 2 emails in the tidwells.org. One to the postmaster, Dear Honourable Nolla. Oh wow, Jacqueline Nolla was the Honourable Nolla, and beautifully laid out, topped, tailed, with the ability to immediately unsubscribe from the list. So I'm going to do that, okay? I'm going to pretend that Jacqueline Nolla has received this and says, I want to unsubscribe. I don't want to receive these mails. Submit. So done. Return to the website. And now, if I look at the other mail, just to show this one went to Dave. Again, I didn't have a salutation, so I dropped the mister. And you can download the attached files from the link below. How easy is that? We're not clogging people's email with big fat attachments being sent to it. The attachment has been put in the cloud for them, so anytime they want the brochure attached to the email, they can get it. Really useful. So let's go back, contacts, let's check Jacqueline, J-A-C-Q. Jacqueline Nolla was the Honourable Nolla, right? I think. Let's see. Honourable Nolla, preferred name. And it hasn't synchronized yet. This email opt-out on the next sync with MailChimp will automatically update in contacts to show, yes, they have opted out. So if any of your colleagues attempted to add Jacqueline as a newsletter recipient to the next newsletter, it won't send to her. She won't make it into the list. So there you go. That really, let's have one final look then at campaigns, newsletter update. Let's check how we're doing. The results of the campaign are yet to resynchronize back through MailChimp, but when they do, you'll be able to click on a report and it will tell you exactly which contact to which email, when it was delivered, when it was opened, and did they click on any links in the email. Any that failed will appear below here, and you get your totals. All of it nicely topped and tailed instantly by CloudWorks IT. So that's it for campaigns. It's sorry, it's a bit of a longer video than most, but it's a pretty deep subject, and I wanted to show you an end-to-end journey with a complete campaign from the thought process in creating it to its execution, and a little bit of an integration journey there with MailChimp.